Great. I would want to begin by saying good morning. For those of us in Kenya, we also say habari asubuhi, hamjambo. And then for those of us in Korea, we say annyeonghaseyo. Great, thank you. Your Excellency, Honorable Dr. William Ruto, the President of the Republic of Kenya, welcome to the International Vaccine Institute, which is today your home because of the special ceremony that we do have. And my name is Ondari Mogeni. I am the Government Relationship Manager for Africa. I am Kenyan, so I'm proudly working here at IVI, and I'll have the privilege of being your moderator for today. Exactly 1 year ago, that was on June 5th, 2023, I can see the Cabinet Secretary, Nakhumicha, smiling. The President hosted Dr. Jerome at State House, Nairobi. Coincidentally, exactly the same day later, we are here at IVI with the President, Dr. Jerome. I think the venue has only changed at the IVI headquarters for the accession ceremony. So probably as time goes by, number 5 on the calendar for June might be a very special moment for both the government of Kenya and the International Vaccine Institute. So today, I'll be able to walk you through the session, and I want to recognize the guests in the room, of course, in groups. We have the government of Kenya, led by the President. We have cabinet secretaries. You don't have to be upstanding. We do have led by Honorable Nakhumicha, who has been very crucial in guiding this process. Also, we have the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I'm noting those 2 ministries because they have been very crucial under the stewardship of Dr. Koril. We also do have several institutes, parastatals. I'll name them by names, starting with Kenya Medical Research Institute, Kenya Biovax, who we will be doing a lot of work together. We then have National Cancer Institute. We also have Kenya-IVI. I hope I have not forgotten in terms of the institutions. We also then have a number of permanent secretaries outside Dr. Koril, who I've just mentioned. And then the other distinguished guests from Kenya, welcome. And then, of course, from the IVI side, we do have Dr. Jerome with the leadership team, and also my colleagues behind. And then also we have representatives from the government of Korea. Also, we do have Africa CDC, who are also here today. And then also we have KAIST. So we do have Kenya-IVI. We're calling it Kenya-IVI because Kenya Advanced Institute of Science and Technology. And also we do have KAIST, which is Korea Advanced Institute of Science and Technology, who have begun our long-standing collaboration. So when I mention KAIST, it's the Korea one, and Kenya-IVI is the Kenya. And I think if I have forgotten you, please forgive me. I hope I've been able to mention. And of course, finally, we are also, beyond being hosted by IVI, is by the Kenya Embassy in the Republic of Korea, led by Ambassador Professor Emi, who graciously was keen to come to IVI immediately she presented her credentials. So I think with that, I'd like to move on to the next session of the program, and would like to invite Mr. George Bickerstaff. He is the chairman of the Board of Trustees. He will not be able to make it. Therefore, he'll make his remarks virtually, and he's the chair of the Board of Trustees. Over to you, George.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, William Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, the Honorable Nakhumicha Wafula, Cabinet Secretary for Health of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellencies and distinguished guests, my name is George Bickerstaff, and as chairperson of the International Vaccine Institute's Board of Trustees, it's my honor to welcome you today as we celebrate Kenya's ascension to IVI's establishment agreement. IVI is fortunate to count Kenya as its newest member state, as Kenya is a proven leader in global health. Last year, Kenyan health authorities vaccinated 1.7 million vulnerable people against cholera and successfully concluded its role as one of the 3 pilot countries in Africa to introduce the RTS-S malaria vaccine. Earlier this year, the African Union appointed President Ruto as their champion for local vaccine manufacturing. These life-saving interventions and the endorsement of the African Union are testament to Kenya's forward-thinking health strategy, which combined with the growing capabilities of the Kenya Medical Research Institute, the Kenya Biovax Institute, and the Kenya Advanced Institute of Science and Technology, demonstrate that Kenya is a premier partner for advancing vaccination and vaccine manufacturing in Africa. Currently, IVI and Kenya are preparing the establishment of an IVI country office in Kenya, which will also serve as the project office for AVAC. AVAC, which stands for Advancing Vaccine End-to-End Capabilities in Africa, will help establish a sustainable manufacturing industry in Africa by linking and strengthening existing African organizations across the vaccine value chain through development projects and hands-on training. At IVI, we are excited for the new collaborative opportunities that the office will foster, and we are honored and grateful for Kenya's readiness to host us. With the deepening of ties between Kenya and IVI, it will be my honor to welcome Kenya's participation in the IVI Global Council, an advisory body of IVI state parties, which provides feedback and recommendations to the Board of Trustees. IVI will host the annual meeting of the IVI Global Council in September this year in Bangkok, Thailand, and we look forward to receiving Kenya's input on IVI strategy and activities. On behalf of everyone at IVI, including our other 41 signatory and parties to the IVI Establishment Agreement, it's my pleasure to welcome Kenya to IVI. Thank you and have a great day.
Since you were unable to join us in person, and he has always wanted to say he would like to go to Kenya, now he has every reason to go to Kenya when we officially launch the AVEC project office. Thank you once again. So we'll next move to, in Africa, when a baby is born, it's a communal event, and we're always happy and celebrate beyond the family. So in that regard, I would like to invite Mr. Chu Lee, the Director General, International Organization of the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Korea, to make his congratulatory remarks. He also sits on the Board of Trustees. Welcome, Mr. Lee.
Good morning, Your Excellency, Dr. William Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Susan Nakhumicha, Cabinet Secretary for Health of the Republic of Kenya, Mr. George Bickerstaff, Chairperson of the IVI Board of Trustees, and Dr. Jerome Kim, Director General of the IVI, Excellencies, distinguished guests. It is my great honor and privilege to attend this meaningful event as the representative of the government of the Republic of Korea. As IVI's host country, the Republic of Korea has strongly supported and promoted its growth in the global health architecture. Korea particularly values IVI's role in developing and disseminating safe, affordable, and effective vaccines to countries and in supporting the capacity building efforts of the countries in need. Against this backdrop, we deeply appreciate and warmly welcome the decision of the Republic of Kenya to join IVI as a member state. Together with the opening of the IVI Country and Project Office in Kenya within this year, today's accession ceremony in the presence of the President Ruto represent the deepening cooperation between Kenya and IVI. This new partnership also echoes the slogan of the 2024 Korea-Africa Summit, which is the future we make together, shared growth, sustainability, and solidarity. Taking this opportunity, I wish to celebrate IVI's growing activities and contribution in Africa, including those made through its newly launched AVEC initiatives. The Republic of Korea will continue to support IVI's efforts to advance global health security and to work closely with other state parties, including Kenya. Once again, I extend my heartfelt congratulations to IVI and the government of the Republic of Korea on their new journey together. Thank you very much.
감사합니다, Mr. Lee. And it's worth noting that the International Vaccine Institute was the first international organization that was headquartered here in Korea when we were founded in 1997. And for that reason, we are very grateful to the government of the Republic of Korea for hosting us. And we've had a very fruitful relationship since then, and it has been growing over time. And we look more in that collaboration. Next, I would want to invite Dr. Raji Tajuddin. I hope he's in the house. I saw him earlier. Okay, he's not there. But it was also to offer congratulatory remarks on behalf of Africa CDC. As we are aware, Africa CDC is the institution that is guiding with the mandate from member states for guiding public health matters on the continent. Should he come in, we probably will respectfully request he can be able to make the remarks if we still have the time. At this particular time, I'd like to welcome Honorable Nakhumicha to be able to make her remarks. We have walked this journey with her, of course, the government of Kenya, but I think every time we have had to do something, she has been gracious enough to give us that audience. She has visited here before. We have had a chance to visit her severally in Kenya. So it will see how that journey has grown over time. And for me, it is worth noting, and I'm very happy. This is one of the success stories we will all be able to ride. Honorable Nakhumicha, welcome.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. Jerome, the Director General of IVI, ladies and gentlemen. I want to begin by thanking you all for finding time to join us on this very important occasion when Kenya is ascending to be a member to the IVI. And Your Excellency, your presence here today is clearly a demonstration of your determination, commitment, and dedication to Kenyans achieving universal health coverage. Your Excellency, you know our plan for universal health coverage is hinged on the foundation of primary health care. And in primary health care, Your Excellency, we seek to promote wellness and healthy Kenyans. But equally under primary health care, Your Excellency, is that we prevent diseases. And it has been shown that the surest way to prevent disease, Your Excellency, is through immunization. We can only achieve that by investing in vaccines. And therefore, our being here today is clearly in line with what we are trying to do back at home to ensure that Kenyans, we prevent them from getting ill, and equally, we promote healthcare. Your Excellency, our accession to IVI is coming at a critical time when the global discourse is on how we manage outbreaks, emergencies, and how we prepare ourselves to ensure that we are able to respond as and when they happen, and equally, that we build resilient systems. Last week, Your Excellency, at the 77th World Health Assembly, the International Health Regulations Amendment was approved and adopted. And the key highlights, Your Excellency, of those amendments is that now we are going to have equity and benefit sharing. And that speaks to what we are just about to do with IVI when it comes to clinical trials that will be done at KEMRI and with BioVax participating. So as a country, we are very proud to have participated in the revision of the international health regulations. Your Excellency, looking ahead, we have an ambitious goal of achieving universal health coverage. That, I am confident, will be able, through partners like IVI and others, who we have continuously worked together to ensure that we strengthen our health commodity supply chain. And I am confident that the journey that we begin today is going to ensure that Kenyans are safe because we are going to have vaccines. As I conclude, Your Excellency, allow me to thank the teams that have worked on this project. As Ondari has indicated, it's been a year of work. So I want to thank the Kenyan teams led by Luciola, the CEO of BioVax, together with his team. I want to thank P.S. Singoe, with the team at Ministry of Foreign Affairs, because they walked us through the journey from the time we developed the cabinet memo, the time it was taken to Parliament, and our parliamentarians were able to work on it, up to the time the instruments were deposited on 30th of May at the UN headquarters. I really want to appreciate the team, and of course the IVI team with our very own Dr. Ondari. With those brief remarks, I want to say thank you very much, and we are happy to walk this journey together with IVI. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Nakhumicha. And I'll graciously ask you again later to come up front for one more task when the time comes. So I can see Dr. Raji walking in, and you will allow me, in the spirit of communal nature, as he settles down. I can also say that, thank you, sir, welcome. Yeah, I was saying that, Honorable Nakhumicha, I'll welcome you back again for another task when the time comes. So Dr. Raji, you just come in. We had a chance for you to offer congratulatory remarks on behalf of Africa CDC. And if it may please you, you can come up front to offer the congratulatory remarks.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency President William Ruto, Your Excellency Minister of Health, and Excellencies, Head of Delegations, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. First, I bring you greetings from Dr. Accession, who, as we all know, is very passionate about this particular agenda, and is currently in Egypt on the invitation of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi for another engagement. So allow me to extend this congratulatory message to the Republic of Kenya, for its accession as a state party to the International Vaccine Institute. Today marks a significant milestone in the partnership of IVI with African Union member states. In particular for Kenya, as we all know, His Excellency President William Ruto is our local champion for Africa vaccine manufacturing agenda. The IVI has been a strong partner for Africa CDC since the journey towards what Dr. Accession described as the second independence of Africa in terms of our health security, access to vaccines, diagnostics, and therapeutics. As we all know, the COVID-19 pandemic did lay bare some of the gaps that has been in existence on our continent. We know that before the COVID-19 pandemic, vaccine, in terms of access, in terms of local production, we only produce 1% of what we need. And we know that since that time, we got the marching order from our head of state and government to move that needle from 1% to 60% come year 2040. So what we are celebrating today is part of the journey towards actualizing that 60% come year 2040. So really, having Kenya joining the IVI, is really a very happy moment for our continent, for Kenya, and we believe that using the unique position of Kenya among our member states, this will really, motivate and move us a step closer towards guaranteeing the air security sovereignty of our continent. So on a final note, let me again congratulate Kenya, and we hope that this will open door for our other member states, so that at the end of the day, we are not only guaranteeing the air security sovereignty of AU member states, but the global health security agenda overall. So thank you, and hand over back to Mr. Moderator.
Thank you so much, Dr. Raji. And we do hope that with President Ruto being the local champion for manufacturing for Africa CDC, and also with the journey we have begun with the government of Kenya, I think the tasks now, and I'm looking at Honorable Nakhumicha, is to see how the journey will be till when Kenya will be self-sustainable in vaccine manufacturing. So before I can invite again Honorable Nakhumicha to come on stage, I'd like now, it's my honor to invite Dr. Jerome Kim, who under his leadership, we have been able to have this successful growth journey, to be able to make his remarks. Welcome.
Thank you and good morning. Your Excellency, William Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, the Honorable Nakhumicha Wafula, Cabinet Secretary for Health, the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellencies and distinguished guests. Today's accession ceremony commemorates two critical developments in the relationship between Kenya and IVI. First, Kenya's membership as an IVI state party, and second, the pending arrival of the new office, IVI office in Kenya. 1 year ago on this date, as Andari has mentioned, I had the honor of being received by President Ruto at the State House in Nairobi, where we discussed how Kenya and IVI together could advance our shared vision of a strong and sustainable vaccine ecosystem that advances science, prevents disease, and saves lives. 1 year later, we raised the flag of Kenya at the IVI headquarters. With the exceptional support of the Kenyan government and our research and development collaborators, we're now preparing to establish IVI's country office in Nairobi, which will host an initiative called Advancing Vaccine End-to-End Capabilities in Africa, or AVIC Africa, together with other local, regional, and international organizations, and with proud collaboration with Africa CDC. The ambitious goals of the AVIC Africa initiative, which I'll now or soon introduce, are only realizable through steadfast dedication and cooperation of all partners involved. And I think very importantly, of the things we learned during COVID, it is that as we think about vaccine security, it must be intentional, it must be empowering, and it must be inclusive. And we saw the failures of not having those features during our response to the pandemic. On behalf of everyone at IVI, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to the people of Kenya and to you, President Ruto, for joining IVI both as a member state and our partner as our partner in efforts to realize a world free from suffering from infectious diseases. Thank you. Okay. And I'm the next speaker. So if we could put the presentation up. Great. So this is a brief presentation, both of IVI and AVIC Africa, and I will rush through the IVI portion to spend more time on advancing vaccine end-to-end capabilities in Africa. IVI is a UN-chartered international organization dedicated to vaccine research and development for global health, with a mission to discover, develop, and deliver safe, effective, and affordable vaccines for global health. You can see where IVI works on the map below that. In over 50 sites in over 30 countries globally. Our headquarters is in Seoul in South Korea. You can see the flag there. Our regional office was opened in Stockholm in Sweden in 2022. A country office in Vienna also in 2022. And then a regional office in Kigali in Rwanda should open sometime this year, as well as the AVIC Africa office in Nairobi, hopefully by the end of the year. A new initiative, the Hong Kong Jockey Club Global Health Institute, is also opening this year. This is funded by a charitable contribution from the Hong Kong Jockey Club to IVI, Cambridge University, and Hong Kong University. You can see the flags of the other member states shown on the right side on the bottom. IVI, of course, has a strategy, and if you think of the house that's shown there as IVI with its vision, mission, all the things that we do as a vaccine developing organization, our foundation as an international organization, you see the three strategic initiatives which have guided our development since 2022. First, that IVI should become bigger and better at discovering, developing, and delivering safe, effective, and affordable vaccines for global health. Second, that we need to leave our home in Korea and work and establish ourselves internationally. So in 2022, when this strategy was approved, there was only the headquarters unit in South Korea. Now with a regional office in Stockholm and with new and expanding offices in Africa, we are an international organization. Now that comes with additional problems of having to establish and make them successful, but those are challenges that IVI feels very comfortable taking on. And finally, future-proofing governance. When we started this discussion, when the strategy was founded, IVI's board had membership from funding countries and 10 at-large board members, as well as WHO, and I'm also on the board as an ex officio member, but we didn't have anyone to speak for the places where IVI works. Now that has changed. The board changed the constitution so that now there are 2 countries that are non-funding, that are nominated through the Global Council to serve on the board. And currently, Rwanda and Bangladesh hold those positions. Those positions, again, will rotate with time. And the presidency of the Global Council will also rotate with time. And we're hoping that at some point, Kenya steps up to lead the Global Council efforts for IVI. The Global Council is the significant advisor to the Board of Trustees. Because again, the Board of Trustees needs to hear from the places that IVI works and on the problems that organizations and countries consider to be the most important. Now, IVI can work with a country very directly. And so the country office based in Kenya will try to incorporate its efforts with those of the Kenyan government. And you've already heard some of the ongoing discussions with Kenya-IVI and with KEMRI and also with Kenya-BioVax as we work to understand the ecosystem and then to expand it and strengthen it so that, as we did in Korea from 2010 to the present time, we can really help the government realize its ambition. So in 2010, Korea was the number 11 vaccine manufacturer and was 80% dependent on outside sources for vaccines. Through these efforts, and you can see them listed there, Korea is now about 50% self-sufficient in vaccines, with a goal to be 80% self-sufficient by 2030, and the number 5 vaccine manufacturer. So these things are possible. They take planning and effort, and IVI is happy to work with Kenya in order to help Kenya realize these objectives. We do have vaccines that we've developed. The oral cholera vaccine, which Kenya dispensed over 1 million doses of last year, was developed at IVI for a cost of $30 million, is pre-qualified, and we're in the process of doing a technology transfer to BioVac in South Africa. That technology transfer, if it's successful, will be the first vaccine BioVac manufactures from scratch. We think that this is an important symbol of what IVI does. We really believe in empowerment and the ability of countries around the world and companies around the world to be able to make vaccines that are safe, efficacious, and approved by WHO. Vaccine number 2 is a typhoid conjugate vaccine. Actually, that vaccine is now pre-qualified by WHO. Biopharma, which is an Indonesian company, also has its local vaccine approved by the local regulatory authority. They are planning to file for WHO pre-qualification later on this year. Vaccine number 3 and now vaccine number 4 and number 5 are in planning stages. They're not as advanced as vaccines number 2 and 3, number 1 and 2, but we're looking forward to advancing those in collaboration with partners in Kenya. The new initiatives now are first the regional office and the AVIC project office, and I'll talk more about the AVIC Africa project office because this is the centerpiece initiative of building sustainable manufacturing in Africa. The second new initiative, which I'd mentioned previously, is the Hong Kong Jockey Club Global Health Institute. This will be located at Hong Kong University. The grant to IVI is about $29.4 million over 5 years and allows us to build vaccine process development capability, which is a very difficult thing to get funding for. But it's really important because as we think about something that a scientist develops on the benchtop in a laboratory and the vaccine that comes out and is used by countries and vaccination programs around the world, somebody has to translate that scientific benchtop study into something that can be manufactured at scale. And the Process Development Laboratory does this, and the Jockey Club is funding that. The other thing it's funding, and this gets to the discussion that we had with Professor Songok, is that it will fund scholarships to work and get master's and PhD program level qualifications with organizations, many of which will allow the work to be ongoing in the country where the work is done. So the research that's done there will be supported by this grant. And Dr. Florian Marks, who's not here, couldn't make it today, is going to be the point of contact for that activity. So how do we do it? And I'll show this slide again. It starts with burden. It goes from laboratory to licensure for vaccine development. It importantly uses capability enhancements, both technical and human, in order to make countries self-sufficient, to allow people to participate in the process of vaccine research and development. So now on to AVIC Africa. I think this was mentioned previously, going from less than 1% self-sufficiency to 60% self-sufficiency, which is the target for 2024. It is critical for pandemic preparedness, to tackle endemic infectious diseases, and to improve supply security for countries in Africa and the region. AVIC Africa is an idea. It comes out of what IVI did as it was developing the oral cholera vaccine. As we were developing the vaccine from the laboratory in through animal testing, through human clinical testing, through approvals, and then through manufacturing, and finally through implementation, we were able to develop capabilities here at the Institute, which have now allowed us to work on other vaccines. In COVID, we worked across the spectrum with different vaccines, different companies. For AVIC Africa, it will enable these different aspects in collaboration with partnerships with Africa CDC and other organizations to move a vaccine project from its inception in the laboratory through clinical testing, through approval, implementation, and impact. The partnership with Africa CDC is critical. These are the strategic pillars of the Africa CDC. We used to call it PAVM, now it's PHAHM, the Framework for Action. And AVIC Africa, importantly, interacts with 4 of the 8, indicating how close the collaboration between Africa CDC and IVI have to be in order to not be redundant and to strengthen efforts and reinforce them as we move forward. The regional office for IVI will be in Kigali. It will help with the setup of networks. It will engage other state parties. It will have a clinical trials training center and help with human resource and talent development. The AVIC project office, which is where projects that IVI does in Africa will be based, will be potentially larger, based on projects. We'll take projects from the beginning to the end. So in the office itself, the training of people through actual experience developing vaccines and working with partners, collaborators, writing grants, training other people to do grants will be the cornerstone of IVI's efforts to support sustainable manufacturing in Africa. And you can see some of the country scope listed below. We've already worked with African vaccine manufacturers. Helping with the measles rubella vaccine development with Institut Pasteur in Dakar, with Accession around its mRNA manufacturing capabilities, with BioVac around technology transfer and clinical trials, with another small Ghanaian private company on the technology transfer or fill and finish of oral cholera vaccine. Around vaccine development and clinical trials, we actually have a very large effort, and again, this is Dr. Florian Marx's group, that is developing clinical sites and training them to be ready to do testing of a new Lassa fever vaccine. A similar program is now being planned for East Africa. We have worked with Accession on a proposal that we think will soon be funded by CEPI on an mRNA vaccine for Rift Valley fever. Again, the things with the red stars indicate that IVI is either a co-partner or a sub-awardee. And we think that's really important. IVI does not need to lead this. In fact, we think it's more important for countries and investigators in Africa to take the lead, to learn how to write grants, to get them approved, to execute them. And this builds the actual capability to do things. The real-world effectiveness of oral cholera vaccine in Mozambique, again, is something that INS, the National Institute of Health in Mozambique, was the lead on, and IVI was a subawardee. And you can see, of course, on the right, the training programs. So these things are already in place and reflect the beginning of the, actually now, project office that would be based, the AVIC Africa initiative based in Nairobi. To use as an example this whole idea, we're going to look at the technology transfer to BioVac. So that work was done initially with a grant from Gates, working with IVI and U Biologics, which is a small company here. Now that that product has been pre-qualified by WHO, the technology transfer to BioVac is ongoing. They've actually already passed 2 phases successfully. They're in the process of scaling up to the level that they need to for actual manufacturing. And now we're in the process of working with BioVac to secure the funding to do the human clinical trials to show that this vaccine does what we think it does. So again, looking at this triangle, starting with burden, going to from laboratory to licensure, and using human technical and capacity development, there are 5 I's. We start with the incidence of disease that we want to impact. We then incorporate innovation, the development of a new vaccine concept. We industrialize that, so we make it possible for a company, hopefully in the future, Kenya-IVI, to manufacture the vaccine. We take that vaccine through procurement and implementation, and it's only then that we have impact. And those 5 I's are exactly what this triangle represents. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jerome. And probably I request you to just remain upstanding, if you don't mind. As you rightly mentioned to President Ruto earlier in the bilateral, one of the things that IVI is like to find a faculty home at one of the graduate institutions. And in this case, Kenya-IVI has been gracious enough to be able to offer that opportunity together with the KAIST. And for that reason, they have been able to begin a tripartite partnership of the three, of IVI, KAIST, and Kenya-IVI. And then for that reason, I'd like to invite Professor Mutisia to come up front, Professor Kang Lee, such that they can be able to exchange the MOUs to commemorate that partnership. So these MOUs have been signed, but we felt it would be good at least to have that commemoration to show the journey has already begun. And respectfully, President, I'll request you to come up front for our group photo with them, joined by Honorable Nakhumicha. And then also joined by Dr. Tanui, because at least this journey began when he was the CEO at Konza, and finally acting principal, Professor Amasi. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So once again, I'd like to invite Honorable Nakhumicha to come up front. When Ambassador Emi visited here on May 20th, he did ask how many Kenyans work at IVI. And at that time, we told her we have 4. I think 2 here, Irene, also and me, who are HQ. Dr. Derek, who's away on a field trip, and then we also have one in the Sweden office. But probably, as you say, we are so many Kenyans here today. And the hope is that with AVEC, we'll have many more job opportunities as we grow the process. So in this regard, I'd like to welcome Honorable Nakhumicha once again to invite the President to be able to make his remarks.
Thank you once again, and I would like us now to be upstanding and put our hands together for His Excellency the President.
Thank you very much, Minister. Please, let's take our seats. The representative of the government of Korea, Dr. Jerome Kim of IVI, and officials from the Republic of Kenya. I am very delighted this morning to join you as we celebrate Kenya's ascension to the membership of the International Vaccine Institute. This is an important milestone which demonstrates our dedication as a country to achieve health commodities security through sustained public-private partnerships and international collaboration to promote investment in research and development, as well as the manufacturing of vaccines, therapeutics, and diagnostics. This significant achievement is the culmination of well-coordinated joint endeavor between the Ministry of Health, the Kenya Biovax Institute, and the Kenya Medical Research Institute in conjunction with the experts from international vaccine institutes, whose efforts I am delighted to recognize, appreciate, and congratulate. Today, we have an opportunity to reflect on the journey we have traveled and to remember where we started. I remember the last time we signed papers in 2022 when I came here. I remember hosting Jerome in my office on a day like today, on a month like this month, last year. And I am truly delighted that the journey we agreed on today has come to fruition, and today we are raising the Kenyan flag here as a commemoration of Kenya's ascension to a state party of this great institution, the International Vaccine Institute. The challenges we face in accessing medical countermeasures during the COVID-19 pandemic, especially the availability of vaccines, only make today's event much more remarkable. The vulnerabilities of global health systems exposed stark inequalities and inequities in access to essential medical resources for significant populations at a time of great existential peril. In Africa, we did not just witness, but also bore the brunt of arbitrary distribution and denial of access, as well as vaccine nationalism, which, coupled with Africa's over-reliance on external manufacturers, magnified our already very serious situation. The time has come, therefore, for Africa to actualize health sovereignty by liberating itself from dependency on unsustainable frameworks and accelerating initiatives to become self-reliant in vaccine production. A fundamental value of Pan-African solidarity is that no one is free until all people are free. In vaccine production and supply terms, no one is safe until everyone is safe. Making vaccines universally accessible to all our people, regardless of nationality and status, is an urgent imperative that we must respond to without any hesitation. It is encouraging, therefore, that the African Union has demonstrated strong resolve in taking effective measures to bolster the continent's healthcare infrastructure, human capital, and institutional frameworks, as was very ably articulated by my friend from CDC. The collective determination of Africa's leaders is in shaping the future of healthcare by establishing a resilient, equitable, and sustainable vaccine manufacturing ecosystem is now beyond doubt. And I promise, as I did when I was asked to champion the vaccine manufacture in our continent, that we are mobilizing resources, we are mobilizing support, both moral and financial, to make sure that Africa has the potential, the resources, and the investment to make sure that we are we provide a mechanism for ensuring that we sustainably have vaccine manufacture in our continent. And I'm proud to state that Kenya remains steadfast in its commitment to collaborate with partners like the Africa Union Commission, Africa CDC, and the Africa Medicine Agency, World Health Organization, and of course the International Vaccine Institute to make a strong contribution to this endeavor. We have every intention, and we are taking effective measures to prepare Kenya and Africa for future outbreaks, epidemics, pandemics, and other health emergencies by translating this commitment into tangible results within a time that we are scaling. Furthermore, as Kenya graduates from dependency on donor support for the supply of routine vaccines to support primary immunization, the partnership and collaboration whose successful culmination we are witnessing here today will guarantee sustainable self-sufficiency in the supply of these commodities as we make our health provision in Kenya a truly bottom-up affair. This will go a long way in fulfilling a fundamental objective of the universal health coverage strategy pillar of our bottom-up economic transformation agenda. Looking ahead as a country, we cherish this partnership and embrace its ambitious goals. The establishment of the IVI Country and Project Office in Nairobi shows our commitment, ability, readiness, and willingness as a government to accelerate the progress of our universal health coverage agenda and to promote Africa's self-sufficiency in the most critical dimensions of healthcare. Under this partnership, we will strive to strengthen our health systems by assuring commodity security through research, development, and manufacturing. I believe in our collective ability to achieve even greater results working together. As was said by our Minister for Health, it is our intention to change our health delivery systems from emphasis on curative to more emphasis on preventive and promotive. And the availability of vaccines around the country help us in the prevention journey. And that will truly make part of our interventions, including our community health promoters around Kenya, a truly bottom-up engagement as we work on our delivery of health. I would like to take this opportunity to recognize Dr. Jerome and to appreciate his leadership, which has enabled the IVI fraternity to collaborate successfully with counterparts in our Ministry of Health, including those from the Kenya Biovacs and the Kenya Medical Research Institute, making this event possible. Let me also agree that it is very important that looking into the future, this collaboration, even with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and everyone else who contributed to the accession of Kenya to IVI, is critically important in making sure this event has come to this very fruitful conclusion. I will be very proud shortly to see the Kenyan flag raised here and to congratulate everybody who has participated. Congratulations again. As we celebrate this moment, I urge you to keep pushing the boundaries of innovation and enhance our support for research and development in biotechnology, because that will enable us to take charge and define the future of healthcare. Your commitment is vital for our progress. Let us therefore use this milestone as a platform for launching a path into the future through exploration and discovery, and work together in the spirit of solidarity and partnership to build resilient health systems and ensure that the whole world is prepared for any health emergency in the near or distant future. We recall our past experiences, however unpleasant, with a view to consolidating the gains already secured, particularly on lessons learned from the COVID-19 pandemic, and to deploy innovation to devise a bold way forward for Kenya, Africa, and globally. This is why I am very proud of what we have accomplished and confident about the transformative achievements we shall definitely accomplish together as we go into the future. Thank you very much, Jerome, your team, Ministry of Health in Kenya, Biovacs, Cambry, and all the collaborators that have brought this to where we are today. Thank you again for having us here and for your steadfast support to Kenya and to us in the African continent. Thank you very much. Asanteni sana.
Thank you, Your Excellency. We may be seated. So give me a minute, can be seated and I'll guide us out how we'll go about for the accession ceremony. I'm not about to give us a sermon, as much as it's good to give a sermon. So we will go to our next step. Kindly listen to my instructions. One is that we'll have a group photo here at the lobby, and thereafter we will go out where the Kenyan flag will be raised as the Kenyan national anthem is being played. And thereafter, it will be followed by the national anthem of the Republic of Korea. After that, we will have 4 photos, which I'll give guidance. after which the president will leave at his pleasure, and the guests remaining behind will be able to congregate together for lunch. So after the president and Dr. Jerome and Honorable Nakhumicha and the deputy directors and PS Kuril, we can come for a group photo with the rest of us. Then I'll guide us outside for the accession process. Applause. So I also request we remain upstanding and in attention for the national anthem of the government of Korea, the Republic of Korea. Applause. Thank you, Mr. President. Now we'll go to the last stage of the accession ceremony, and I want you at the stage where I want to